Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Pam, and today is going to be part one of a three-part video series showing you how to make a really cute newborn set that I fondly call Autumn's Chevron. So that involves these really cute little tie-one booties, as well as this little chevron flower hat and the dress. Now today's video is going to be for the dress. Now of course the dress is going to be the longest part of this project, so this is a lengthy video. The pattern for all of these though are all combined into one pattern for sale on Etsy. It only comes in newborn size. It is intended to be a newborn gift set, so I apologize if you want this to be bigger. I might work on that in the future. I'm just really strapped for time right now. But for now, you can find this newborn pattern, which should fit babies up to approximately 10 pounds, give or take. It really just depends on the baby, but it is designed for newborns. And you can find these patterns in my Etsy shop. The link is in the description box below. And as I get the other videos posted for both the booties and for the bonnet, I will post those links as well in the description box below. So let's get into making this dress. So for this pattern, you're going to need two colors and some sort of worsted weight yarn. This is just cheap acrylic yarn. Acrylic's actually nice for babies because acrylic is generally hypoallergenic. At least that's my understanding. So I like to use acrylic yarn for a lot of baby items. And an H hook. This is a 5mm Clover or more H hook. I wanted to hate this hook and I actually quite love it, so I'm going to use this hook. So you're going to need two colors. You can integrate more colors if you want actually, but for this pattern, for the pattern's sake, you need two. And your color A is going to be this color and your color B is going to be this color. So pick which one you want to be color A. In this case, I'm going to use blue as my color A. And with color A, we're going to make a slip knot, whoop, and chain 41. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sorry, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 1. There's 41 stitches. Also, I apologize in advance if my kids are noisy because it is hazy outside and high air pollution today, so we are stuck inside. So to begin row 1, we're going to start in the second chain from the hook. So half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. We're going to half double crochet 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should have 5 half double crochets. Then in the next chain, we're going to half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. So half double crochet, chain 1, and another half double crochet all in that same stitch. Then we're going to half double crochet 9 times. So be careful, this next stitch sometimes can get a little bit squished when you work into this chain. Like this chain here can get squished because of working in that one. So be sure you don't accidentally skip a chain. We're going to half double crochet 9 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, getting hung up on the strings, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7, 8, 9. Sorry if I go kind of slow or kind of fast. We are going to do that sequence 3 times all together. So the half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet in 1 stitch, and then half double crochet 9 times. That was our first one. We're going to do that 2 more times. So into this next stitch, we're going to half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet all in that same stitch. And then half double crochet 9 times. 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's the second set. So now we're going to do it a third time. So into this one stitch, we're going to half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet, and then half double crochet one time in each of the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8, and 9. Then we're going to do one more corner, so half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet all into the next stitch. So half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet again in that same stitch. And then you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 chains left. You're going to half double crochet 4 times. My kids are excited because they really wanted to play outside, and I feel bad for them because they can't, but they're because it's way too smoky. It like burns your throat if you're outside too long, and it smells like straight up campfire outside. But they don't usually get to play games, so they're playing Wii Sports to kind of get some energy out, and they're really excited about that. All right, so row 2, chain 1, turn. These chain 1s do not count as your first stitch. So when you're doing the next row, you're going to work into that first stitch. And so we're going to start with 5 half double crochets. So going into the first stitch, half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet 5 times. So that's 2, this is 3, 4, 5. Now we're at that chain 1 space, so into that chain 1 space we're going to do our corner. So the half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Now we're going to half double crochet 11 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and you'll see we're at our next corner. So into the chain 1 space in the corner, we're going to do a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all in that corner. And we have a baby situation. She has such strong feelings. Crisis diverted. Okay, so we're going to do 11 half double crochets now. This is our second set of doing the corner and then 11 half double crochets. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we're at the corner again. We're going to do our last set of a corner and then 11 half double crochets. So going into this chain 1 space there, do a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. And we're going to continue with 11 half double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now into the chain 1 space here, we're going to do our other corner. So a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet all into that corner space. And then we're going to end with 6 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you're done this row, you should have 56 stitches around. I say around, it's really right now it's just a row. For row 3, we're going to chain 1 turn. Now we're going to half double crochet 7 times, starting in the first stitch. 1, Whoops, I'm getting stuck on the thread. That was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Into this chain 1 space, do our corner. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Now along the sides we should have 13 stitches. So we're going to half double crochet 13 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And into our next corner, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, and we're going to repeat again with 13 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we're going to do a corner yet again. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet all into that chain 1 space. And going down the final 13 side, we're going to do 13 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then we've got one more corner, so into that chain 1 space, we're going to do a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. And then into the last bit, we should have 6 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you are finished this row, you should have 64 stitches. Uh-oh. My yarn's getting a little caught. Oh, it's caught on the tail. Whoops. Here we go. That's why I wasn't getting it wasn't pulling so nice. It was getting stuck on the tail that I forgot to untuck. All right, so row 4. Row 4, chain 1 turn, and you're going to start with 7 half double crochets beginning in the first stitch. So 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to start with our corners and sides again. So we're going to be doing this sequence 3 times all together, starting with the half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the chain 1 space, and now we're going to be having 15 half double crochets along the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now into this corner space, we'll start the second sequence. So we're going to have the half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into that chain 1 space, and then 15 half double crochets down the side. If you'll notice, there's a bit of a trending pattern here. So as we work down the sides, each time we work a row, we have 2 more stitches added to the sides here. There was 9, then 11, then 13, then 15, and that's how it is when you're increasing. You should end up with 2 more increasing on each side, and then your corner, which makes sense. with the exception of the beginning and end, because those are a shared side here, so they would increase by 1 because 1 and 1 is 2. I hope I didn't just confuse you. But anyways, sorry, my throat's been messed up ever since this whole like haze and forest fire stuff started. So into the corner, we're going to do a half double crochet, chain 1 half double crochet, and again with 15 half double crochets down the next side. But anyways, yeah, it continues to increase, and you can actually keep following the pattern of increase to change the size a little bit. If you wanted to, you could make it a little bit bigger by just continuing this pattern of increasing till you get it where when you fold it in half, it's about the size you want around. And I'll show you what I mean by that when we get to that point in the pattern. So 14 and 15, and then into this corner, half double crochet, chain 1 and half double crochet all into the same space, and row 4 ends with 8 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, 8. All right, so row 5, we're going to start joining, and row 5 gets a little bit funky. We're going to chain 1 turn. We're going to half double crochet 9 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, what I was trying to explain earlier was, you know that this is as big as you want it to be when you take this whole square, because it's supposed to basically be a square with a gap in the back, fold it in half like this, and the measurement around here is about the size of the waist that you want, because this is how it's going to be oriented. So what we're doing now is actually going to be joining it so that it is like that. So after you've done your 9 half double crochets in row 5, we're going to do 2 half double crochets in this chain 1 space here. So 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is do 2 half double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So the next chain 1 space is here. So that means you have to basically fold it to get it, to bring it over. This is going to create your armhole, and we're going to do 2 half double crochets here. 1, 2. Now we're going to do 17 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now we're going to repeat what we just did earlier. So we're going to put 2 half double crochets in this chain 1 space, and then chain 1. You want to fold it in half. Make sure you fold it in half the same way you fold this one in half. So I bring it around the front like that. So do your chain 1, and then we're going to, into this next chain 1 space, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. And then we're going to finish this row with 8 half double crochets, and then we're actually going to join it to the first half double crochet. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8. And now we're going to join. So bring the first back around Here's our first half double crochet. We're going to go right into the top of the first with a slip stitch to join. Now row 6, we're going to chain 1. And then I just got a phone call and I totally got thrown off my game. Okay, so for row 6, we're not going to chain 1 turn. We're just going to keep the work facing this way. And you should have 44 stitches going around. So what we're going to do is half double crochet starting in the very first stitch we joined to around 44 times, which will end us here. And then we're going to add an extra stitch to this first spot. So starting in the very first stitch, we're going to half double crochet. So there's 1. We're going to go around 44 times. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. So see, 44 stitches going around, and this is part of your first stitch, but what we're going to do is add an extra stitch there, so we have 45 stitches. So we're going to add an extra stitch there, and then join to the top of our first half double crochet, and now we have 45 stitches around. However, we're now going to change color. So actually what I'm going to do is slip stitch to join by picking up my new color. So I'm going to stick my hook in there. I'm going to trim, leaving myself a tail. I am done with color A for now, and I'm going to switch to color B. And just grab color B and slip stitch through. And then we're going to chain 2 or 3, whichever you want to do. Usually when I switch colors, I do a chain like 3 because I pull this tight and it looks like 2. But I usually do a chain 2 to count as my first double crochet. Now, row 7, we are going to do a chain 2, and every time, or in this case I did 3 just because I pulled the one chain tight. And every time we do a chain 2 from here on, it's going to count as our first double crochet. All right, so we are going to do into the next stitch, because we joined here and this is our chain 2. So into this next stitch, we're going to do 5 double crochet all into that one stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then into the next stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. So 1, 2, and into the third, a double crochet. Into the next stitch, 5 double crochet. 1, whoopsies, 2, I keep grabbing that yarn funny, 3, 4, 5. And be careful, because sometimes this can kind of really smush the next stitch, but we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then again skip 2, and into the third, do it again. So double crochet, 5 double crochet, and skip 2, and then repeat. So that's the first one. This is the second one. Skip 2. This is going to be the third one. And this is going to be the fourth one. Skip 2, do a double crochet, 5 double crochet, five, and then double crochet into the next stitch, skip 2, and repeat. Skip 2, starting in the third, repeat. Double crochet in the next stitch, skip 2, repeat, double crochet, 5 double crochet, double crochet, skip 2, and repeat. And you'll see we have here 2 stitches left. We're going to skip those 2, and we're going to join to the top of our chain, this case chain 3, which looks like chain 2 because I cinched the one tight. Now at this point what I tend to do is actually tie these tails together. What, baby?
Did you make your chair wet?
Juju made my chair wet?
Yeah.
Sounds like I better check her butt. That means her butt's probably wet. So my chair, I don't know why it's wet. It was not the baby's butt, but she did need a diaper, so she got a diaper. All right, what was I doing? Oh, so slip stitch to join to the top, and then what I did was I tied a knot, and then later I will fish those tails in, and we're ready to continue with row 8. So row 8, we're going to end all these subsequent rows, we're going to be slip stitching over 1. So just slip stitch over 1. And chain 2, and the chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. Slip stitching over 1 is just realigning your stitches because of where the join is at, and we're going to start with a double crochet in the next stitch, and then into this stitch, which is the middle of these 5 stitches, we're going to put 5 double crochets into that top there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, I also wanted to show you this. So when we started the last row, this was the initial setup row, and then this was the one where you began the sequence of repeating 8 times. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so you have 9 of these all together. So sorry, I meant to show you that, and I'm getting distracted by kids. All right, so after you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets all into that one stitch, going into the next stitch, each of the next 2 stitches, we're going to put a double crochet. So double crochet 2 times, 1 and 2. So then we're going to skip these next 2 stitches, and into this third stitch, we're going to double crochet, we're going to double crochet 2 times, one in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 5 double crochet on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to double crochet 2 times again. And then we're going to repeat that sequence of skipping 2 stitches, double crochet 2 times, 5 double crochet in the top, double crochet 2 times, and repeat. And we're going to do that all together basically until we get back around to the end. So that sequence gets repeated collectively 8 times. This is the second sequence. So 1, 2 double crochets, 5 into the peak, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet 2 times, then skip 2 stitches and do it again. Double crochet 2 times, 5 double crochet in the peak, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, double crochet 2 times, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches and double crochet 2 times again, 1, 2, 5 double crochet in the peak, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go find out why the baby keeps screeching. It's just the toddlers pestering each other. Now we're going to double crochet 2 times. 2. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches and double crochet 2 times. 5 double crochet in the peak. And then double crochet 2 times, skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch, start the next 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 5 into the peak again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet 2 times, skip 2 stitches, starting in the 3rd stitch, double crochet 2 times, 5 double crochet into the peak, 2, 3, 4, 5, double crochet 2 times, skip 2 stitches into the 3rd, start your next double crochet 2 times, into the peak, 5 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, double crochet 2 times, and at this point you should notice that there are 2 stitches left. We're going to join to the top of our chain 2, and that's the end of row 8. After this row you should have 81 stitches around. Now once again we're going to slip stitch over 1 to start the next row and chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet. So now we're going to double crochet 2 times because that chain 2 counts as our first one, so collectively this would be 3 including the chain 2, which puts us right back to the peak, the center of our 5 here. So we're going to put 5 double crochet into this stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, Then we're going to double crochet 3 times down the side. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches and begin our next sequence of repeats 8 times, which is basically repeating until we get to the end. So skip 2, 3 double crochet heading up to the peak. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're at the peak. We're going to put 5 double crochets into this one stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to do 3 double crochets going down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches. Going into the 3rd stitch, we're going to start our 3 double crochets going back up. 2, 3. 5 double crochets in the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then start our 3 double crochets heading back down. 1, 2, 3. Skip the next 2 and into the 3rd, start our 3 double crochets going back up. Five in the peak. Three double crochets back down the side. You'll see that's the stitch we worked our last double crochet into. Skip the next 2 and into the 3rd, do our 3 going back up to the top. After you do the 5 in the top, do our 3 double crochets going back down. So 1, 2, 3. Skip the next 2 stitches, and then to the 3rd stitch we're going to do our 3 double crochet back up to the top. We're going to put 5 double crochet in the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to do 3 double crochets heading back down again. 1, 2, 3. Skip the next 2, going into the 3rd stitch. We're going to do our 3 double crochets going back up to the top. And then our 5 double crochets in the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 3 double crochets going back down. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches and do our 3 going back up. Five in the peak. Three heading back down. Skip 2, 3 heading back up. Whoopsies. 5 in the peak. and then 3 heading back down. 1, 2, 3. Skip the last 2 stitches, join to the top of your chain 2, and slip stitch over 1, chain 2, and we're starting the next row. After you've completed row 9, you should have 99 stitches. We're now moving on to row 10. So now we're going to, our chain 2 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. See, there's our 4 stitches heading up to the peak. We're going to put 5 double crochet in the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to double crochet 4 times heading back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and starting in the 3rd stitch, we're going to double crochet 4 times, and this is our starting of our repeat that we're going to do till we get to the end. Double crochet 4 times up, 5 double crochet in the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to double crochet 4 times back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2 stitches and begin the sequence over again with 4 back up to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 going back down to the valley. 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and then we're going to skip 2 stitches and start with our 4 double crochets back up to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets all into the peak, and then 4 double crochets heading back down to the valley. Skip the next 2 stitches, start again. 4 double crochets up, 5 double crochets into the peak, 4 double crochets heading back down to the valley. Skip 2, 4 back up. That was an ugly stitch and I'm not going back for it. 5 into the peak. Four heading back down. Skip 2 stitches. 4 back up to the top. 5 into the peak. And then 4 heading back down. Skip 2. 4 back, going back up to the peak again. Five into the peak. Four going back down to the valley. Skip 2. 4 going back up to the top. Five in the peak. And then 4 going back down to the valley. After you're done your 4th double crochet, you'll notice there's 2 stitches left, which you're going to skip and just join to the chain 2. Having completed row 10, you should have 117 stitches. So just like before, I'm going to slip stitch over 1 and chain 2 to start row 11. You can see it starting to take shape. So row 11, your chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. You're now going to double crochet 4 times. 2, 3, 4. And again, into the peak, we're going to put 5 double crochets. 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, all into that peak. And then we're going to do 5 double crochets going down the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now begins our repeating sequence where we skip 2 stitches and we do 5 double crochets now going up to the peak. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 double crochets into the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all into that 1 stitch. And now we're descending the other side with 5 double crochets going down to the valley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to skip 2 and do 5 double crochet going back up to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do 5 double crochet in the peak again. And then 5 going back down to the valley. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches and start our 5 double crochets back up to the top. So double crochet 5 times. Then put 5 double crochets all in the next stitch to create our new peak. And then double crochet 5 times, heading back down to the valley. Skip 2 stitches and repeat. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way around.
I will let them go. It's getting harder to hide it. I'm like a beacon shining through. The darkness cannot fight it. New strength is burning in my soul. The world is raring to hide it, but I will push right through. Darkness cannot fight it. New strength is burning in my soul. The world is raring to hide it, but I will push right through.
So I'm on the last peak, doing my 5 up to the peak. If you crochet faster than me, sorry, you're waiting on me. 5 double crochets all into the top, into that one stitch. And then 5 double crochets going back down the side. If you are slower and you haven't caught up with me, then you can just pause the video and catch up, and then we can continue together. But when you are finished with the 5 double crochets back down the side, you'll have 2 stitches left that you're going to skip, and you're just going to slip stitch to join to the top of the chain 2. That's the end of row 11. And at the end of row 11, you should have 135 stitches. So we're going to start row 12. So like always, slip stitch over 1 stitch, chain 2, and you're going to do 5 double crochets going up to the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With your double crochet counting as your first stitch, you'll have here 6 stitches. And then into the top we're going to put 5 double crochet again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to double crochet 6 times down the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 6. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and starting in this stitch we're going to begin our repeating sequence of 6 double crochet 6 times up the side. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to put 5 double crochets into the peak. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to double crochet 6 times down the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then again skip 2 stitches and begin the sequence over again. So what I'll do is, because I'm sure you don't feel like listening to me counting repeatedly, excessively, it's just a lot. So what I'm going to do is play some wonderful music for you. I hope you like it, and when you hear the music stop and my annoying voice start up again, you'll know I'm almost done this row. We can just kind of crochet together and enjoy the process. Okay, I'm on my last one. I'm gonna skip 2 and do my 6 double crochets up the side. I hope you like my music. If you don't, I guess you could always mute it or even just skip this portion of the video and just kind of, you know, work up to that point and wait. Kind of curious if any of you listen to music. What kind of music do you listen to when you crochet? Why is my baby screaming? I like how when I asked her what's going on, she's like, it's Holtwood. Okay, so she's screaming because of her brother. I'm going to put the 5 double crochets into the peak. And then do the final 6 down the side. When you are finished this row, you should have 153 stitches, which the numbers always amuse me because the last row was 135 when you're done. This row is 153. So do your 6 double crochets down the side and then join to the top of your chain 2, and that completes row 12. Now row 13 and 14 are going to start, you know, like always, you're going to slip stitch over 1 and chain 2, which counts as your first double crochet. And then you're going to double crochet 6 times up the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then into the top, you're only going to put 3 double crochets this time. 1, 2, 3. And then down the other side, you're going to put 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip 2 stitches and start your repeating sequence of skip 2, 7 double crochet up the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then only 3 double crochet into the next stitch, not 5, just 3 this time. 2, 3, and then 7 descending back down into the valley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoopsies. Gotta redo number 7. And then just like before, skip the next 2 stitches and starting in the 3rd stitch, begin your 7 back up to the top. You're going to do this for row 13 and 14, and your number of stitches should not change. At the end of row 13 and 14, you should still have 153 stitches at the end of each row. So here's our 7 up to the top. Only 3 into the top this time. What this does is doing 3 instead of 5 makes it so it no longer increases, so you end up with the same number of stitches. And then do 7 down to the valley, which if you do this enough, you don't even have to count anymore because you can just tell from looking at it where your stitches go. Usually you'll have 1 stitch left in the row beneath, like 1 double crochet left in the row beneath. So like I get here, and then I know this is 7 because this stitch goes to this last one here, and I don't work in that. So if you count, here's our 3 in the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So see, I can look and say, okay, I know I need to stop there, skip those 2, and start my 7 back up to the top. And then when I'm working up, I don't worry too much with counting. Usually if I do count, it is this first side, if I do. And sometimes I do just to make sure I don't mess up, because sometimes I can get kind of in my own mind zone and then not pay attention. But I know it's going to be the center one of the 5, which is this stitch here. But yeah, it's just the center. Just 3 into that. 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3. And then 7 back down the side. So we're going to repeat this row 2 times for row 13 and 14. So we'll do this row and then another row exactly like this one. So what I'm going to do is play some music and just kind of crochet with you. I'm not going to speed it up or anything. If I go too fast for you, you can, you know, pause the video and just kind of catch up. Or if I go too slow for you, you can kind of skip ahead and just sort of, you know, bypass all my nonsense. And either way, I'll play some music. If you don't like it, you're going to want to mute it because, you know, not everybody has the same tastes in music, and that's okay. These are just some of the songs that I like to listen to, and I will meet you back when we are almost done row 14. So I'm going to finish this row and then do the next row, and when I'm on the last peak of the next row, you'll hear my annoying voice come blaring through, and you'll know I'm almost done the next row. So, hope you like this music.
Help me, Lord, I keep choosing what's not worth it. Your word's written on my heart, but I'm imperfect. My spirit and my flesh are 2 different persons. Always fighting myself, and I'm still hurting. Lord, I need to hear your voice, cause I hear the gavel. Condemnation's got a knife at my Adam's apple. I try to reach the end zone, but I get tackled. And if I try again alone, I'ma unravel. I'm a calling on the one who lifts the lowly, the only one who does good and is holy. The one I know I can trust ain't a phony. The one I know before I call, he done phone me. Let the message, I shall pick it up and hear it, even if my worldliness causes me to fear it. If I harbor wickedness, he will share it, not by might nor by power, by his spirit. He can fill this hole in his time. He loves me. By his word I am refined and given life. My loneliness is the progeny of the conflict inside of me, and he's shown that there's gotta be a strict dichotomy in your head of what he said and what he didn't say. Make the distinction so stark that it be night and day. Sometimes I give myself way when I know I can't stay in this place for too long, but if I give up and pray, I can move ahead, led by the hand of the A to Z. God of the hills and flatlands, some man's ancestors growing in a mad cancerous bread that's living from the wrong side of heaven. So here I stand, ready to give it up to the God I believe is Jehovah Rophecha, the God who heals my disease. So help me, Lord, I turn to you because you're worth it. The Spirit's cutting on my heart, making me perfect. And out of all of my mess, I'm a new person. You can fill my emptiness with a new purpose. He can fill this hole in his time. He loves me. By his word I am refined and given life. He can fill this hole
I'm not done row 14, by the way. I'm not that much of a champion crocheter, but I am finishing up row 13. You'll see there's 2 stitches left, and I just wanted to make sure that I explained you. It's just like every other row. You join to the top of the chain 2, you slip stitch over 1, you chain 2, and then begin just like you did row 13. 6 double crochets going up to the top, because the chain 2 counts as 1, so that would be 7 altogether, including the chain 2. And then, 3 on top, 7 down the side, skip 2, and repeat.
Got dragged out when you told me to stay. Now my lighthouse is so far away, and it's all my fault. The only one to blame is me. A light worth dying for. If I call your name and reach out, I said I would be true. I tried. I failed without you. I might have gone round, seen a lot of sitting down where no one's all around. Wide are these heads of wheat who want to be where we are. We know the words he said, go and tell the world about me, the world about me. And here we are clowning, looking like fools. Here we are lounging in a vast seen a lot of compromise, seen a lot of broken lives with no hope in their eyes. Others all think they're fine, while they don't even know the word. We know the words he said, go and tell the world about me, the world about me. And here we are clowning, looking like fools. Here we are lounging in a vast
Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me. To him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so skip the last 2 stitches and join. But when we join this, we are going to be changing back to color A. So I'm not going to join with my brown. I'm actually going to, and actually, you know what? I am going to join with the brown. But what I'm going to do is slip stitch over and pick up the blue as I slip stitch over. So I'm going back to my color A, which is my blue. And I'm just going to pick that up with the slip stitch over. And then I'm going to chain 2. Unless that chain gets, you know what, I'm going to pull that chain real tight when I tie a knot. So I'm actually going to chain 3, I think. So that it ends up being kind of like chain 2. See what I mean? Depends on how you do your join exactly, what happens, but that's how I'm doing mine. So row 15, we've slip stitched over 1 already and chain 2 with our new color. And the chain 2 counts as our first double crochet. We're now going to double crochet 6 times, just like before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that we have 7 stitches all together, including our chain 2. But now, instead of doing 3 into the peak, we're actually going to do 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do our 7 double crochets down the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now again, we're going to start our repeating pattern of skip 2 and do 7 double crochets back up to the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to do 5 in the peak instead of 3. 1, 2, 3, whoops, lost the loop. 4, 5, and then 7 back down the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're getting there. We're on our second to last row, you know, and then we're going to skip 2 and work back up to the top. So we're just going to keep repeating that until we get to the end. My kids are all eating lunch now, and I am trucking through this to get this done. So we're going to do our 7 back up to the top, and then 5 into the peak. Whoops, I lost a little bit of that loop. I don't want to do that. There we go. And then 7 back down the other side. I keep splitting this yarn. This is a cheap yarn. It does split a lot. And then skip 2 and go back up again. We are making progress. So you'll see now we're at the middle stitch of our top 3. So we're going to, in this stitch, we're going to put 5 double crochets. This haze has my voice all messed up, which is concerning because I have to sing tonight. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you know what? I give Jesus my best and I'm going to trust him. Three, 6, 7, and then 5 into the peak. If you're ever curious as to why we do 3 or versus 5 in the peak, you figure the 3 in the peak is 1 for the stitch that you're working into, and 2 for the stitches that you skip when you're in the valley. That's why your stitches stay the same count. But when you're wanting to do an increase, you do 5 there, because then you've got the 1 that accounts for the stitch you're working into, the 2 that account for the stitches that you skipped in the valleys, and then 2 that account for an increase, 1 on each side of the chevron. Now you notice I'm not counting. It's because I'm just looking and I see, okay, that's my last stitch there, so I need to skip those 2 and work into the 3rd one here, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I can usually do that pretty well, and the more I crochet, usually the easier it gets, but I still find myself making errors now and then when I do that, so be careful about doing that. But I'm also the kind of person that I realize if I made an error in the row before, rather than frog my work, because I'm incredibly lazy, I will just adjust my stitches on the next row to account for that. So like for instance, if I accidentally put too many stitches in, I'll just skip a stitch or something, or if I didn't do enough, I'll put 2 stitches somewhere, and you know what? No one's ever noticed when I do that. I've learned that, you know, there's some things with crocheting where I do want things to turn out right, and it needs to, and I need to frog it in order to make it turn out proper. But then there's also some things that really, you know what, doesn't matter, and I want to enjoy the process, so some things I just kind of wing it to fix it without having to undo my work. I am a little more of a stickler when I'm trying to sell things, but especially if I'm giving a gift. I'm learning to accept the fact that, you know what, not all of my crochet projects are perfect, and actually pretty much none of them are, and I'm okay with that. That's why sometimes when I grab a stitch funny and the yarn splits a little bit, I just finish the stitch because I'm like, you know what, it's fine. So anyways, skip 2, go into here. I'm just rambling, I know. Probably should play music instead of just rambling because I don't really have a whole lot worth saying, I guess. Anyways, how many more chevrons? Oh, I'm on my last chevron. Sweet. So we got 3, 6, 7. I count by 3s anyways, by the way, when I'm like counting my stitches. I tend to count by 3s because I count faster that way without messing up my count. It's the most I can count at one time without screwing up. So 5 into the top and then 7 down the side. See how I kind of split that yarn? I just finish it anyways because I'm like, you know what, that's not going to affect the functionality. It's not going to affect the final beauty. Like, can you tell? No. So I don't care. So if that bothers you whenever I do that, I apologize because I know that there's sometimes you watch people do things and you're like, please don't do that again. Please stop doing that. Anyways, so we get down here to the last 2 we're going to skip, join to the top of the chain 2, or in this case it's 3, but it looks like 2. And what I'm going to do before I continue is tie these tails together. I am a knot fan. I'm a fan of knots. And I will fish those in when I'm done. So we only have 1 more row for this dress. Yay! So we're going to start by slip stitching over 1 and chain 2. That's going to count as our first double crochet. By the way, when you are finished this row, you'll have 171 stitches. And when you're finished the next one, you're also going to have 171 stitches. Because what we're going to do is 3 double crochet in the top instead of 5, because we're not going to increase for this row. But because we increased for the row before, you're going to have to crochet 7 times to get up to the top here, which including the chain 2 is going to be the equivalent of 8 stitches. So double crochet 7 times up to the peak. So now we're going into the peak with just 3 double crochets. Now we're going to do 8 double crochets down the side to the valley. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and working in the 3rd stitch, we're going to double crochet 8 times back up to the top. Now we're going to put 3 double crochets into the peak. Whoops, I dropped my loop again. I do that sometimes when I hold my yarn especially tight. And then we're going to do 8 double crochets down the side, and we're going to keep repeating that till we get to the end. We are almost done this dress. It's incredible. So where are we at? I think we're on the last peak. We'll work our way up to the top. All right, and then 8 going back down towards the valley. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go, 7 and 8. Woohoo! So we are going to join to the top of our chain 2 and stretch our fingers because ouchie. Cut and tie. So look at that. I like that this dress is sleeveless, but we want to add just a little touch of niceness to the top. So we're going to do that with the reverse single crochet. We're going to get color B, make a slip knot, and on the back side of the dress, if you're right-handed, you're going to join to the right side, and if you're left-handed, join to the left side. The reason being that we're going to be working in reverse, and we want, ideally, we want the work, the nice side facing us. So we want the outside of the work facing us. We don't want to be working on the inside. We want to be working on the outside. So if you're left-handed, join to the left-hand side. I'm right-handed, and so I'm going to stuff my hook it to the end there. Draw up my slip knot without drawing up strings. And then I'm going to chain 1, and into each of these, the backs of these stitches, I'm going to do a reverse single crochet. So reach your hook around back and insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Reach into the next back loop, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. And just keep doing that. Sometimes I'll hold this back so I can see what I'm doing. You're just going to go in the stitch prior, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, and just do that in each of these back loops. Now the way I do my initial row of, like when I'm working into the chains, I work into the I work into 2 of the loops, not just 1, and that's why there's only 1 loop here. It actually kind of makes this tricky for me. But I'm going to work into each of these loops, going all the way around with the right side of the work facing me, because that's the, to me, that's the prettier side of the crab stitch, is the side that is facing you when you're working it. So I like to make sure that the outside of the work is facing me. That's why it's important which side you join on. And just 1 in each stitch is all you need to do. And I think it adds just a nice little, if you haven't noticed with my with some of my other videos, I'm like obsessed with reverse single crochet. I love how the crab stitch always turns out. You could probably put a trim like this around the armholes and it would be really cute. I wouldn't do it all the way around. I would do it from this side to this side and leave the bottom plain. That might actually look really cute if you did a reverse single crochet there too. when you get to the end of your row of reverse single crochet, simply cut and tie a knot. So we will fish in all these tails in a bit, but here's the dress. Now you'll notice it's extremely rigid. There is, when you wash these things, they do relax a lot, but if you don't, I hesitate to wash baby things especially, because what if the baby has a sensitivity to detergent or something? But I also don't want to give somebody a dress that is so incredibly rigid. So what I do is use a handheld steamer and just steam the dress. And what that does is it causes the fibers to kind of relax and settle into their position. And that's how you take it from super rigid to nice and flowy and relaxed. See, this is just cheap yarn too, but it's been steamed with a handheld steamer. This is acrylic, so you don't want to hold it there for a ridiculous amount of time. But I am going to give this a quick steam first, so that before I attach the button, just because it's going to be easier. So I'll fish in the tails, which is really easy. You can just, actually first I'll fish in the tails, then I'm going to steam it, and then I'll show you how to sew on a button, which is pretty simple really. It's just kind of like sewing a button onto pretty much anything. So I'm just going to run this tail, for instance, through these stitches here of this particular section. Stretch it, and then I'm going to go back the way I came. So I'm going to fish in the tails, and then trim the tails short. When you're fishing in your tails, you can go just back and forth like always, or one thing I like to do, which is something I learned recently and I really like, is kind of go down a little ways through your work. And then what you can do is I actually leave the yarn on the needle. I push the needle all the way down. I split the yarn and then let go and let it kind of unravel a bit. And then I pull the needle up just enough that I can get half of it and pull that half out. Unravel it just a little bit more, and then just take the needle with half of the yarn and go right on the other side of a small piece of the stitch, and then tie a knot. And this makes a nice tiny secure knot that you can then trim this really short, and look at that, and that won't come out. So let me show you this again. I'm going to fish this in to my needle, and I'm going to come up to the blue, because, you know, blue. And I'm just going to work this down just a little bit. Push the needle all the way down, which, by the way, you don't need a fancy needle like this. Like, if I use just a regular tapestry needle, you can do it with a regular tapestry needle too. So, in fact, it's might be easier even. So, split the yarn and then let go so it can kind of unravel a bit, help it untwist. And then pull it up, pick one of these and pull it out so that you can take this part and just go under to pull it on the other side, so that now it's straddling like part of the stitch, so that you can tie a knot and you're anchoring that tail to your work. And then again, you can cut it nice and short because you've split the yarn. The knot's really small. So now I'm going to go give this a steam. So you can see the dress here. It's pretty rigid. I like to open it up when I'm doing this part, and then just literally have it right up against the fabric. And I'm going to steam it. If any part of the dress still feels a little rigid, what I'll do is I'll lay it flat, open it up, give her a little more steam. The dress still feels kind of rigid right here. Maybe do the underside. But look at that. There's so much more drape now. It's just nice and drapey, and it's not all stupid rigid. So now all that's left is to attach a button to it, which I apparently have no idea what to do with my buttons. Where are my buttons? I think the only button I have that's going to work is this clear button, which is perfectly fine. I love clear buttons because, well, they go with anything. So I usually try to keep a stash on hand. Now this button here is probably about, let's see, a little over 1/2 inch. Find a button that's approximately 1/2 inch, or one that you'll notice this side's like a little bit longer than the other side. It's because it's meant to overlap. So find one that can actually fit through the stitches. See how that can just slide through? Sorry, I was holding it up too far. Find one that can slide through the stitches. Not too easily though. So that can. So you'll notice that when it comes to this bodice, there's a short side and a longer side. You may have noticed when we were working it that there's more stitches on this side than this side. That's because this side is going to button to that side, which means on the short side, we're going to attach the button pretty close to the edge, about right there. And I find the easiest way to sew this is with that over there, but like a cross stitch needle. And what I'll do is I'll just get a length of this yarn, I think, this blue yarn. So probably about like a foot to 18 inches, and just pull another section off and use a 2-ply. So this is 2-ply of that yarn. Now the fun part is threading it. If you have a threader, that makes this easier. If not, I usually fold it in half, pinch it real tight, and tuck it in with my thumbnail if I have a thumbnail. I got it. So I'll use that to sew the button on instead. I'm going to see where I want my button to lay. This is a two-hole button. A 4-hole would actually probably be more ideal. And I think I'm going to orient the buttons horizontally and make it straddle these 2 rows for stability. So I'm going to come up right in the middle of that bunch of stitches there, leave myself a long enough tail for sewing, come up through the first hole, down through the next hole, and into the middle of this bunch of stitches right here. And then I'm just going to come back up slightly off through that hole again, down again on the other side. And then one more time, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up, go through, and then I'm going to angle the button so when I go down but just through the hole, and I'm in between the button and the work. And I'm going to take this yarn and wrap it around those threads a couple times, and then go underneath and out the back. The clear button really makes that easier for you to see, doesn't it? That'll add a little extra stability. I think 3 times should be enough. I could do it a 4th time for good measure, although that might be kind of gaudy. Come up. We'll make it work. And go back down. I'm always paranoid with these buttons. And then I'm just going to pull the needle off, put that on my magnet so I don't lose it, and tie these tails together. When I'm tying these tails, I do prefer to do a surgeon's knot, I think it's called, where you actually wrap it under twice. Although I think a surgeon's knot, you wrap it under twice for both. I do it wrap under twice for the first one, and then I just wrap around once for the second. And then trim these short. You can fish in those tails. I just trim them short because I'm not worried about them. And there you go. So there's the dress. It wasn't too bad, was it? I wonder what it looks like with that little bit of reverse single crochet there. Now I want to try it. Just curious. I just want to see what it looks like, and then I'll see what you guys think. Because this is not part of the pattern, but I think I'll start on this side so that the right side is facing me. I'll start in this nook. And then reverse single crochet. I'm going to go over the tail just because why not? And I'll have you guys tell me what you think. So I started on the bottom of one side and I'm just going to work around to the bottom of the other. Right side facing me because it's the prettier side of the crab stitch. So I'm working from right to left because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you'd be working from left to right. Okay, and then I'll just go into this nook here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll go into that nook with a slip stitch. And then trim that. What do you guys think of that? That's actually kind of pretty, I think. But I can't tell if I like it with or without. But see, I wouldn't work on the bottom side. I would just work along the top. You know, I think I really like that. I think I'll do the other side. So this time I'll start in the front so I can work on the outside. If you're left-handed, you would start on whatever side would make you work right to left, not left to right. You want to work in the way so that when you do the crab stitch, you're working on the outside. So I'm going to start in this corner. See that chain one space we worked into before? I'm going to just single crochet there and then work a reverse single crochet . So we're going to go around with color B and add this really pretty trim on the sleeves. And you tell me, guys, if you like that more or less. I think I like it a little bit more, but that can be entirely up to you. It ends up being, I have to count too because I haven't done the counts. But you're just working from one chain one space down to the other chain one space. And in this chain one space, actually I'm going to do a slip stitch. I'm just going to slip stitch there. Look at that. What do you guys think? Oh, I think that's pretty. Yeah, I like this. But I am going to turn this inside out so I can work these tails in. Tie a knot. There we go. We did it. It only took us, I don't know how long. I wasn't paying attention. So that's all there is to making this really cute little baby dress. I hope you found the tutorial easy to follow. I know it was really lengthy and I hope the music wasn't too bad. So if you have any questions or if there's something you want to see a part of it done a little bit slower or that you're struggling with, remember that YouTube does have playback speed adjustment. Like you can change how fast or how slow a video plays. So if I'm crocheting a little too fast for you or if I'm crocheting a little too slow for you, you can adjust the speed in the settings. I appreciate all of you who watched so much. You have no idea. I'm just blown away by the amount of support I've received here. Thank you so much. And for being patient with me as I have to deal with my kids in the process of trying to make these videos. So I hope you really enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know. The pattern again is in my Etsy shop linked below, and have a blessed day.